Welcome to Mythic Bedtime YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. In the heart of a bustling city, where skyscrapers touched the clouds and people were always in a hurry, there existed a small, almost invisible shop named Chronos Curiosities. Owned by an old man named Ian, the shop was filled with clocks of all kinds: grandfather clocks, cuckoo clocks, digital clocks, and even some that defied description. The walls were adorned with gears, pendulums, and all sorts of timekeeping devices, creating an atmosphere that felt both ancient and futuristic. Ian was no ordinary clockmaker. He was a master of time. He had the unique ability to craft clocks that could manipulate time in various ways. Some could fast-forward time, others could rewind it, and a few could even pause it. However, Ian was very selective about who could purchase these special clocks. He believed that the power to control time was a great responsibility and should not be taken lightly. Over the years, many had entered his shop, but only a few had left with a clock. One day, a young girl named Lyra walked into the shop. She was captivated by the array of clocks and their intricate designs. Her eyes widened as she moved from one clock to another, each more fascinating than the last. Ian noticed her genuine fascination and felt a sense of intrigue he hadn't felt in years. "Are you looking for something specific, young lady?" Ian asked, his voice tinged with curiosity. "I'm not sure," Lyra replied, her eyes still scanning the room. "But these clocks seem extraordinary. They feel alive." Ian smiled, a rare occurrence in his old age. "They are more than just timekeepers. Each clock has its own unique ability, its own soul, if you will." Intrigued, Lyra spent hours in the shop, learning about the different clocks and their powers. Ian, who usually guarded his secrets closely, found himself opening up to Lyra. He showed her clocks that could age wine to perfection in seconds, clocks that could replay your happiest memories, and even a clock that could let you speak to your future self. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Ian led Lyra to a secluded corner of the shop. There, on a pedestal, was a clock that looked ordinary but had no hands on its face. "This is the timeless clock," he said, his voice taking on a serious tone. "It has the power to take you to moments in time where you're needed the most. But be warned, once you go, you must resolve the issue at hand to return. It's a clock for those who wish to make a real difference." Lyra felt a magnetic pull towards the timeless clock. It was as if the clock was calling out to her, beckoning her to take on a journey through time. She looked at Ian, who nodded as if giving her his silent blessing. "Can I take it?" Lyra asked, her voice tinged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Ian looked at her, his eyes searching for any sign of doubt or insincerity. Finding none, he said, "Yes, you may. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility." Feeling a sense of purpose she had never felt before, Lyra carefully picked up the timeless clock. As her fingers touched its smooth surface, she felt a surge of energy flow through her. The clock seemed to come alive, its face glowing with a soft, ethereal light. "Are you ready for your journey through time?" Ian asked, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and caution. Lyra looked at the timeless clock, then back at Ian, and nodded. "I'm ready." Chapter 2: The Timeless Journey and the Village in Crisis. As soon as Lyra agreed, the timeless clock glowed brighter, and she felt herself being pulled into a vortex of swirling colors and lights. When the sensation stopped, she found herself standing in a small, rustic village. The sun was scorching, the fields were barren, and the air was filled with a sense of desperation. Lyra quickly realized she had been transported to a different time and place. She was in a small village, years in the past, where a crisis was unfolding. A drought had plagued the land, and the villagers were desperate for a solution. Crops were failing, livestock were dying, and the people were losing hope. As she walked through the village, Lyra felt the weight of their despair. She knew she had to do something, but what could she do? Just then, she remembered her high school science classes, specifically a project she had done on sustainable agriculture and water conservation. With renewed determination, Lyra approached the village elders. They were a group of wise but weary men and women who had seen many seasons come and go. Skeptical but desperate, they agreed to listen. Using her knowledge of engineering and science, she proposed building a simple but effective irrigation system. She explained how they could channel water from a nearby river into their fields using a series of canals and ditches. The villagers were skeptical, but the desperation in their eyes told Lyra that they were willing to try anything. With the help of the villagers, Lyra spent days digging ditches, constructing canals, and setting up the irrigation system. It was backbreaking work, but Lyra felt a sense of purpose she had never felt before. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the irrigation system was complete. The villagers gathered around as the first stream of water flowed into their parched fields. As the soil soaked up the water, the villagers broke into cheers, their faces glowing with a mix of relief and disbelief. Lyra felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. She had done it. She had used her knowledge and the power of the timeless clock to make a real difference. Just then, she felt the timeless clock vibrate in her pocket. It glowed brighter and brighter until she was enveloped in a blinding light. Chapter 3: The Return and the Timeless Legacy. When the light faded, Lyra found herself back in Chronos' Curiosities. Ian was standing there, a smile on his face. "You've done well," he said, his eyes twinkling like stars. The timeless clock chose wisely. Lyra felt a sense of pride and accomplishment she had never felt before. She had made a difference, not just in her own life, but in the lives of people from another time. As she left the shop, timeless clock in hand, she knew that this was just the beginning. There were more moments in time that needed her, more problems to solve, and more lives to touch. She felt a newfound sense of purpose and a deep connection to the timeless clock. It was as if the clock had become a part of her, a constant companion in her journey through time. And so, the timeless clock found its place on Lyra's mantle, a constant reminder of the fluidity of time and the impact one person can make. Ian continued his work, ever watchful for the next deserving soul, as the clocks in his shop ticked away, each with a story yet to tell. He knew that Lyra was just one of many who would walk through his doors, but he also knew that she was special. She had used the power of the timeless clock to change lives, and in doing so, had changed her own. Lyra went on to become an advocate for sustainable agriculture and water conservation, using her experience in the village as a catalyst for change. She gave talks, wrote articles, and even started a non-profit organization aimed at helping communities implement sustainable farming practices. And through it all, the timeless clock sat on her mantle, its face still handless but more meaningful than ever. The end.